the one, because capital gets attracted to a zone of safety with expected returns. So the party has to be rewarded with returns which are commensurate to the risk they are going to take. So ECB has not come into the hotels. Even as we speak, there are not too many parties who are willing to underwrite. So even today, most of the ECB which is coming in is domestic institutions who have overseas branches. They are extending finance to support projects. It will take some time. So industry will have to pull its socks up and create that confidence in the lender and investor community in general, and foreign money will follow. It follows where domestic money goes.
Jayesh, I'd like to put it to you a little more dwell on the ECB part, because ECB has recently been permitted by RBI only for low-cost housing, not for any other category of housing, but low-cost housing. So if you can dwell on what ECB is all about, how can we raise ECB?
See, I would say that that's a very recent move, and that's a very, I would say, positive move. I don't know why the government took so long to open the kind of the external door for the real estate sector. Now, the ECB that has been opened for the affordable housing, that has been a long-standing demand, because even today, as yes, Jimmy talked about 8 to 10%, but really on the ground, when you go to the ground reality, the money is not available at 8 to 10%. It is still available at anything between 15 to 22% kind of thing. So it's a private money or public money, whatever you say. So the government realized that if we really want to build the affordable housing, or we have to create the mass housing and then cater to the mass housing requirements, then one of the important component which goes into the construction of the affordable housing is the funding cost, and also the ability of the developer to, I would say, create mass housing at a shorter period, within a shorter period of time, like run an industry kind of thing. So therefore the government realized that this is something is more of a kind of an industry model. It should work on a low cost profit model kind of thing. And therefore it is something kind of closer to an industry, and therefore let's try and open it kind of thing. With that intention, this has been opened up. But even there also, there is no direct access. Even today also, there is no clarity even in terms of what is affordable. So the RBI has still not given, and there are different definitions of the affordability that we have seen in the morning, that somebody, even Anuj talked about that 1 crore is affordable. So we are not going to get into that. But still there is a confusion as to what is that mean by affordable. And therefore, it is still not as easy as one could think that the ECB is opened up for the affordable housing. But still there are, I would say, the practical nuances which are there for the developers to access the ECB. And there is no direct access. Again, it has to be through the bankers. So you have to route through the bankers, and the bankers would actually go out and then take the borrowing, and then we'll give it to you. So that's how you still have to manage through the bankers or run through the bankers, and then pay some cost or incur some cost while getting the ECB money or the external commercial borrowing money for the affordable housing. So still there are some question marks even on part of the bankers as to what does this mean, whether this particular project will qualify as an affordable housing or not. So those questions are still there on the ground reality.
Right. My second question is again to Jayesh. Jayesh, what is the qualification of a developer in terms of size, in terms of governance, and in terms of credibility, that he will be able to raise external commercial borrowing from the overseas market? Ballparks.
See, as of now, the external commercial borrowings, that's the foreign money, directly is not accessible to the developers. So the developers have to come through what you call it the foreign direct investment route. And there also we have seen that yes, it is a hybrid instrument which are being used. So optionally convertible debentures we used to have, but that is now no more available. So people have to use it, what we call it as a compulsorily convertible debenture, so which is again more in the form of a debt as of now. So that is available, or that is accessible. But the way that it operates is as good as an equity kind of thing. And there also the cost of borrowing is somewhere about say 12 to 15% still, or 12 to 18% kind of thing, depending on the kind of the product or depending kind of the project and the developer. So there is, I would say, still in terms of the costing or in terms of the accessibility, ECB is still not available. it's in the form of OCD. Now, in terms of, there is no set criteria as to whether which developer would be eligible to entitle to the foreign money. It is, I think, I would say it all depends on the kind of the project, the kind of the credibility, the kind of the returns that the project will deliver, the kind of, I would say, the institutionalization, the governance process that the developer has. All those things, I think, matters when a kind of a foreign money comes into, or whether a private, for a domestic venture capital fund, when they put into money, they look into all these aspects.
Will a state government body like a housing board of Andhra Pradesh be able to raise ECB abroad directly?
Sorry?
Will a state government department like a housing board of Andhra Pradesh is permitted to raise ECB abroad directly?
I would say no. At this point in time, the regulations does not permit even the state government also to borrow.
I believe the National Housing Bank is the only intermediary which has been permitted to raise the ECB as of now. But don't you think NHB also does not have the wherewithal to de-risk the sector from foreign exchange risks? The dollar is fluctuating like anything, and the euro, you don't know what is happening to the euro. So are we like opening the sector to a risk of foreign exchange capital exchange?
I would not say so specifically to the real estate sector, because if we have look at in terms of the, I would say the foreign exchange fluctuations, I think it has to do with the country as such and nothing to do with the sector. So I would say irrespective of the sector, that risk is there and will remain kind of thing. So one need not actually, I would say, paint it to specifically to a particular sector and say that this sector is more riskier and therefore to that extent the risk is much higher compared to, say, manufacturing or compared
No, my point was on the foreign exchange valuations. So for example, you raise, supposing NHB is able to raise 1,000 crores basis the dollar being at 55 rupees, and if the dollar falls down to 45 rupees, it makes a kill. But if it goes to about 65 rupees, then 1,000 crores becomes 800 crores immediately.
That's what I'm saying, that risk is very much there, nothing to do with the sector. That's what I'm saying, that is to do with the larger economic aspects. So that happens with any other bank, whether it is NHB or any other bank, I would say.
All right. So that means if private participants have to come, they also have to have a mechanism of foreign exchange deregulation risking capability. That's what it means. So your qualifications of developers shows that only a very few top line developers will qualify for ECB for low cost housing. That's what my understanding is. If I may take it to Mr. Vallavan, would that be a clear understanding that will housing boards do joint ventures with private developers to raise capital abroad?
We do have. In fact, we have 24 joint venture projects, and some of them have brought in foreign investment through their Indian partners. And we have a joint venture project with even the Malaysian company. And now the Malaysian government has given a proposal to have a G2G joint venture. So that way it is there. The joint ventures in Andhra Pradesh, they have been successful.